What's going on, guys? My name is Andrew Ching and welcome to What We Drive. If you like cars and haven't subscribed to the channel, consider hitting that subscribe button right now. I upload new videos every week. Usually when we think about Chinese cars, we think about this or this. But time has changed, so today I'm gonna bring you this Chinese SUV that you probably haven't heard of. The Haval H7. Let's start with the design now. Compared to those Chinese cars that were made years ago and looked kind of crappy, the Haval H7 definitely looks way better. At the first glance, its appearance is definitely on the cleaner side. Nothing too crazy about it. It's got that very standard look of a mid-sized SUV. It looks muscular, it looks bulky, and it looks sporty, but it's not too much. And I have to mention that this car kind of looked like, the Ford Edge. Don't you agree? Coming to the front, yes, you do get that appropriate grille on an SUV, but I think the headlight is especially good looking. It's got that LED strip kind of surrounding the main light, and I think as a design element, this is always welcomed. There isn't many big highlights in the back on the Haval H7, but I think those two exhaust pipes are definitely a good touch and makes the car look sportier. And the trunk is automatic, but I found something particularly annoying about the trunk is when you open the trunk, it starts beeping and beeping and beeping for 7 times, as if it wants to tell the world that, hey, my trunk's opening, come check me out. In the trunk, you've got this privacy panel that covers everything in the back so that people can't look into what you have. And the default trunk space is about 11 cubic feet. And if you fold the seats down, you can go up to 44 cubic feet. Not big in its class, but it passed. And on this car, you don't have to pull the trunk down. You can just press this button, but the beep starts again, and bear with me, this time it just keeps going for 9 times. Price-wise, the Haval H7 is currently selling for 170,000 Chinese yuan, which is about 25,000 US dollars. By comparison, some other mid-sized SUVs in the market, such as the Ford Edge, starts at around 230,000 Chinese yuan, which is about 33,800 US dollars MSRP. And luxury USVs like the Mercedes-Benz GLC starts at around 400,000 Chinese yuan, which is about $59,000 MSRP. So really, the Haval H7 is the more wallet-friendly choice for the local Chinese customers. Let's talk about the performance. On the Haval H7, it's got a 2-liter turbocharged inline 4 engine that produces 231 horsepower and 262 pound-feet of torque. And with its 6-speed dual-clutch transmission, this thing can go from 0 to 60 in 9 seconds with a top speed of 205 miles per hour. Step inside the Haval H7, it actually looks good. Well, the fact is that this car used many design elements from popular German manufacturers. The overall design looks very similar to an old BMW sedan, with minor touches here and there. The AC controls are like the ones in a Mark 7 Volkswagen Golf. The shift lever and center console looks almost the same as a combo of Audi and Porsche. The infotainment system is simple and easy to use, but that clock is awkwardly shrink and placed in the corner, which I still don't know why. The wood trim is made of plastic, but the overall build quality is what you expect from its asking price, definitely an industry standard. The good things are that it comes standard with a 12.3-inch dashboard, a 360-degree camera, and even a panoramic sunroof. It is always good to have these standard other than optional. So we're now driving the Haval H7. First impression and the biggest impression is that the suspension of this car is actually pretty well adjusted. When we were at the parking lot where the road was kind of rough, this car handles that pretty well. I think in a normal, the throttle has very obvious latency. When you floor the gas, it takes about like a half second until it can actually go. Maybe this thing will be better in sports mode, I think. Yes, definitely better in sports mode. Throttle response is definitely quicker. And honestly, the difference between sports and normal on this car is just so obvious, and I would recommend if you have this car, keep it in sports mode. Otherwise, you don't really get the power you deserve. The steering is definitely quite light. There isn't much to talk about. I don't think it's outstanding. It's not vague, it's not precise, it's right in the middle. So the steering and the handling is definitely something that is designed to suit most people, but if you're a car lover and you drive a lot, you're probably not gonna like this. And the steering wheel is a bit too skinny and doesn't really have a good grip in the hand. While the other parts in this interior actually felt well made, the steering wheel doesn't feel like it belongs to this interior. At this lower speed driving where you have to shift quite often and make some turns quite often, yeah, the ride is not as smooth and the engine kind of shakes. You can kind of feel the shakiness on the steering wheel and on the throttle and the brakes. It looks like the engine's having a hard time determining how much power to put out and when to shift, which is something that needs to be improved, but at higher speed driving, this car actually feels pretty nice and smooth. However, let's be real. Although we can't compare this car to some other cars that have been growing and developing for years, this car is still relatively new to the market. But if we compare this car, the Haval H7, to the other Chinese cars that we used to know, I think this is a big step forward. I still remembered that a few years back I drove a Chinese car. It was a manual, and the overall drive and the overall feeling of the car was just so impressive in a bad way. It was actually pretty crappy. And now I'm driving this and I actually can't really believe that they've come this far. In a word, this car, although not one of the best cars I've driven, has already changed my perspective about Chinese cars. So that was a review of the Haval H7. It is still on the more conservative side of the performance and design, but I think it's the good step forward for the Chinese manufacturers. And by looking and driving this car, I believe in a few years, the Chinese manufacturers can bring better cars with better design and performance to the world stage, which is very cool. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you do, please give me a like, comment, or share with your friends. And if you haven't subscribed to What We Drive, do it right now. I upload new videos every week. And big thank you to those who have subscribed to the channel. Your support is what motivated me to make more videos. And thank you very much for watching. I will soon be seeing you next week. Peace.